Developer relations, developer advocate. Have you heard of any of these terms before? If you haven't, don't worry, because I actually didn't know myself until I started working as one. In this video, I want to cover what developer relations is, what developer advocate does, what are his responsibilities, what are the skills that you need in order to be working as a developer advocate, and I'm also gonna be answering the most asked questions that I receive from developers whenever I tell them that I work as a developer advocate. So stay until the end of this video and let's get started. Hey nerds, welcome back to the channel. My name is Juan and I have been working as a developer advocate for Auth0 by Okta for the past 2 years. And let me tell you that during this time, my life has completely changed and it has completely changed for good. So this is a really exciting field, the field of developer relations, the career of a developer advocate. And today I want to share with you what exactly all this means, what a developer advocate is doing on a day-to-day. And now also, like I mentioned, I'm gonna be answering your questions. Wait. So make sure to stay tuned and let's get started by defining what developer relations is. So developer relations is a department in companies that create technical products. That means those are products that are targeted to developers. Think, for example, companies like Auth0 that provides identity as a service. They have a lot of SDKs. They have a platform that is being used by developers, and those developers need documentation. They want to be informed through blog posts. They go and see people speaking about Auth0 at technical conferences. They also consume videos in YouTube from our YouTube channel, and they found people working for Auth0 in many different places where developers usually hang out. And that's what developer relations is about. Developer relations is about bridging product with the developer communities. But what exactly is developer relations? Well, I like to think developer relations as intersection of three different things. On the one side, you have here product engineering, so where the developers are working, right? So think of it, the group of developers working on a specific technical product. Then you have product management right here, and product management, think of PMs, Scrum Masters, so all the people that is thinking about the new features that should be added to the product. And then you also have marketing, and marketing is the people that is responsible for promoting the product and making sure that you have customers supporting the product. Developer relations is the intersection of all of these three components because they are engineers themselves. They are coders, they are developers, they get their hands dirty in code. So they can speak to software engineering directly, they can talk to the engineers, they can understand what's going on with the platform, they can understand the highly complex technical topics about the platform. They are able to translate all those engineering concepts into documentations, into blog posts, tutorials, YouTube videos, ebooks, etc. But they also understand developers. They understand the customers, they understand the consumers of this application, so they know what they want. By talking to them, they can gather feedback and they can capture that feedback and transfer that feedback to product management. And that makes a really nice combination of the two, and that's what we call inbound advocacy, which is capturing ideas, feedback, reflections of the community toward our product and transferring that to the product responsible departments. But then we have outbound advocacy, and outbound advocacy is particularly the intersection with marketing, whereas developer relations, we produce content, we speak at technical conferences, we record videos, we do ebooks, we do trainings, courses, etc. We go to meetups and we basically educate developers about our platform. Let's think again of the case of Auth0. When I'm working at Auth0 and I'm producing technical content through the blog, many people will land in the blog looking to solve a particular problem or a particular situation. So that's people that is already aware about Auth0 and is looking to mitigate a specific problem or is looking how to start using Auth0 for their applications. But then there's people who don't know about Auth0 and maybe go to a technical conference and then they see a very good talk about authentication or about authorization, and then they join that, and then there's a developer advocate of Auth0 speaking what authentication is, what authorization is, the different systems that you have for authorization. So it's a really interesting technical topic. They love it, and by the end of that talk, the developer advocate will maybe mention, oh, by the way, if you would like to use authorization services. For example, you can use Auth0 FGA, right? Or you can use OpenFGA or anything like that. By using technical talks, that we can also promote the product. But one of the main things about developer relations and why they differ with marketing is that we are technical people, and because of that we generate a lot of trust between the development community and the developer relations team, and it's important that we respect that trust. We are not going to developer conferences, we are not going to meetups with the aim of selling the product. That's not what we are for. For that we have marketing, we have sales, and we have all these people that do this job wonderfully. We are engineers, so we don't go there to sell, we go there to help developers use our product. We go there to educate developers in a particular technology. We go there to educate developers on how to solve a specific problem. Now, solving that specific problem may be using your software, using your product, but not necessarily. We are there to educate and to inspire developers to solve problems. That's it. So make sure that you don't break that fundamental trust between developer relations, between the developer advocate and the development community. Don't do that for a job, because remember, what developers sees is not Auth0 trying to sell them something at that point. What they see is Juan, so myself, trying to sell them something. So if I'm not trustworthy with the information that I give, if I don't give my best recommendation based on my knowledge, if I'm not trustworthy, they will remember that I didn't do it. And then I'm gonna be out of those developer communities. So don't do that, because it's gonna hurt your personal reputation. Be your best to educate developers and to help developers, and as a result, they will love your product. Alright, so by now we already talked a little bit about what a developer advocate is doing on a day-to-day. Let me reinforce that message a little bit by explaining what I do for Auth0. In my role with Auth0, I like to focus on written content. That means I like to write articles for the Auth0 blog. I also write articles for other publications like Free Code Camp, my own personal blog. The reason why I like to do that is because it is the piece of work of developer relations that I like the most, the one that I'm most comfortable with. Now I'm also trying to be comfortable behind the camera or in front of the camera. So perhaps you start seeing me more on the Auth0 YouTube channel. Hopefully that will happen. But there are things that I'm not very comfortable with, like for example, speaking at tech conferences. Now I like to be in tech conferences, and normally when I go there, I'm behind the booth. So you will find me at the Auth0 booth at many technical conferences, or you will find me like walking around or watching sessions. I'm perfectly good with that, but being behind the speaker booth and talking to a large audience, that paralyzes me. Like that idea alone that paralyzes me. Now I'm trying to get better at that. I'm gonna give it a few shots soon. It's gonna be fantastic. But I like to focus on majority of my time sitting behind the keyboard, shielding myself from all those popular experiences. I'm not that kind of person. But if you are, hey, that's great. And this is what I really love about developer relations. There is really a place for everybody. Do you like to write content? Perfect, you can do that. Do you like to record videos and being in front of the camera? Excellent, there are a lot of opportunities to do that. Do you like to write documentation? There's a place for that. Do you like to give talks at public developer conferences? That is fantastic. There is a spot for doing that. Do you like to talk with thousands of developers, with hundreds of developers at a tech conference? Be at a booth and you will do exactly that. So the flexibility, the different areas of responsibility that you have within developer relations are fantastic. They really give you a lot of options, so you'll never get bored. Believe me, you'll never get bored. And this is something that I really love. And I started from a position of comfort, writing technical content, but I'm also trying to explore new ideas. And that idea or that concept of trying new things, it excites me. And even if I've been doing this for 2 years, I know it's not long, but it's also not a short amount. I'm really excited about my career in this field, and I don't really miss software engineering at all. I have a software engineering background. I've been doing software engineering for almost like 20 years, and I don't miss it. I don't miss it because I really face incredible challenges with what I'm doing, and I'm extremely happy that I made this decision and I jumped on the other side of developer relations. So no matter which hat you're wearing, remember, you will have a lot of fun. Now, depending on the company that you join, you may have to wear more than one hat, right? Many small companies will initially hire only one developer advocate, and that developer advocate will have to wear all of these hats. Or perhaps, depending on his comfort, we will do one or two of those, but then then you will be missing opportunities. So in smaller companies, it is normal to see one developer advocate or two developer advocates wearing all these hats, going to events, making videos, writing documentation, writing articles, etc., etc., etc. On bigger companies, you'll also have the comfort of departmentalizing between developer relations, because there will be dedicated people to each one of these levels. So now that you know that, you know the different things that you can do in developer relations. So let's talk a little bit about what are the skills that you need. I think they are pretty obvious. It will depend on the hat that you need to wear. But if you need to write technical content, you will have to be comfortable writing content, producing articles. Now, in the age of AI, this is a lot easier because AI can help you write nice introductions, nice closures. It can help you review your text. Now, I wouldn't delegate AI to write your content because, well, it is terrible at doing that, and they can make a lot of mistakes. I personally try not to rely on AI for those things, but I like to use AI to help me with my grammar. I'm not a native English speaker, so that always helps. And I like to use AI for my intro and my conclusion to kind of like review those things. But normally like the middle, the juice, what all the juice is, I like to write that myself completely, like 100%. So we talk a little bit about the skills that you need for writing technical content. You will need engineering skills, and you will need to be able to produce content in the language that you are hired to work for. Now, if you talk to making YouTube videos, that will really depend also on the size of the organization. In some organizations, you will have dedicated editors. In some others, you won't have that. Well, first of all, you have to be comfortable being in front of the camera. You have to be comfortable speaking through a microphone. You'll have to create like engaging content. You will have to be able like to have this mindset for video content creation, creating tutorials and that kind of thing. You can also make, if you're not really comfortable making being in front of the camera, you can also make like a faceless YouTube channel, also work really well. Yeah, so there are fantastic options if you're not really comfortable with that. Now, if you don't have an editor team in your company, I highly recommend that you learn editing. I did some editing for myself in the past. I'm not great, so now I have someone who's helping me, but I know how to do it, right? So if I need to do something for my kid's birthday party or anything like that, I'm pretty good at that. So yeah, even if you have an editor in-house, why not learning to edit a little bit, right? It's fun. It's fun, it's a new skill. If you're gonna be doing public speaking, you will have to be comfortable speaking to large audiences. Now, a lot of developers are introverts, but that doesn't stop anybody. Like there are many, if you go to a developer conference and you ask everybody that's speaking at conferences, a big percentage of those developers will actually be introverts. They just put like a character when they go into the stage, and while they're on stage, they are on character mode. And then when they go out of the stage, they go out and be by themselves again, right? So they go back to that introvert mode. So if you're an introvert, you can still do public speaking. And this is something that I'm trying to get good at it, and I'm gonna give it a shot, even though I'm not super comfortable to start with that. In order to be a good developer advocate, you will have to have these skills, plus you need to have the engineering skills. Just remember, not because now you jump to developer marketing, you should forget how to code. No, you should still be able to code. You should still practice coding and all this stuff. You need to be a good engineer in order to be a good developer advocate. And that's something that I really want to highlight. And that brings me to the most commonly asked questions by developers when I tell them that I'm a developer advocate. This happens every time. It doesn't matter if it's a conference, it doesn't matter if it's by chatting with someone on Slack, it doesn't matter if it's a friend of mine that is a developer. They always ask the same question. When you are doing developer relations and you are so focused on creating content, how do you keep up to date with your engineering skills? Now, I talk about some of that on my last video on how to learn as a busy software engineer. The basic conclusion of that video for this particular question is you don't rely 100% of your learning to your working time. So when I'm working as a developer advocate, I'm more focused on creating content. Yes, that is true, but it is technical content at the end of the day. So it requires me to know coding. Not only that, but because I'm a developer advocate and Auth0 is a platform that supports a lot of different programming languages, I need to be able to shift between different programming languages. So today I'm writing an article for Go, tomorrow I'm reviewing an article for TypeScript, the day after tomorrow I'm making a video on Rust. So like you will have a lot of expertise on a lot of different areas, also about the product that you're working with. And in order to do that, you will really have to be learning new things all the time. You need to stay up to date. Now, will you be able to do that while working? Well, perhaps not. Perhaps you need to do some of that while you're home. And that's something that I really do. Now that I free my mind from my software engineer job, I'm not coding from like 8 to 5 or whatever that is. I like to, when I have some free time at night, I like to start coding something for myself. I started an open source project, now I'm learning Rust. Learning to code is gonna be something on top of your daily job. It's something that you have to do as an additional effort, but that's something that you need to do even if you're a software engineer, because you can be a software engineer doing React, working as a software engineer, and always doing the same thing over and over and over again without really learning anything. So even if you're a software engineer, you can fall behind. Being as a developer advocate, you really need to push yourself to keep on learning. It is challenging because most of the stuff that we make perhaps focuses on easy tutorials, like we cover the simplest use cases. If you do that, yeah, perhaps in a few years you'll be outdated, but you don't necessarily need to do that. You can dig and understand your product, and you can dig and understand all the technologies that you're using to promote. You can create topics, articles, videos, talks on really sophisticated use cases of your product, really sophisticated use cases of the technology that you want to be talking about. Another thing that is very important if you want to keep up is talk to the engineers working on the product. Check out some of the source code for that product. Now, depending on your company, there may be some restrictions. If you can do that, just download the source code, investigate it, master it yourself, understand it as well or even better than the engineers do. Because if you don't understand how your product works from an engineering perspective, you will not be able to explain that to someone else. That's clear as day, right? So make sure that you stay up to date, talk to engineering, keep on coding, understand your product very well, and all that will help you stay up to date even with a fast-paced software engineer world. Well, thanks so much for staying until here. That's pretty much all for today, nerds. So if you like this video, make sure that you use the like button in here and that you subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting weekly videos like this to help you being a better software engineer. Now, today we talk about developer relations. We will explore some more of this field, and if you have any questions about my day-to-day, about Auth0, or about any of the technologies that I like to work with, make sure that you drop those in the comments, so I'm gonna be working on those in future videos. Thanks. Peace out, nerds.